Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my Better You Health series. And today, I'm here to take a stand. I'm tired of seeing all these fad diets and pseudosciences paint a bad picture on today's topic and victim. I'm here to show you that there's nothing bad with any food, whether it be fast food from a restaurant, cooked at home, especially when it comes to this type of macronutrient. I'm going to talk about why we need carbohydrates in our lives. Like my previous episode on sleep, check out that video after this one. I'll be talking about the benefits of carbohydrates, the possible dangers of the lack of carbohydrates, and my own personal recommendations that I use myself for you to fully utilize carbohydrates in your diet and your daily lives. But of course, before we get started, please do consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help a lot. A big percentage of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel yet. Hi, how you doing? So if you haven't yet, please leave a like on this video if you like this type of content. That's what the like button's for. And please do consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help a lot. Please and thank you. Alright, so I'm sure a lot of us have heard assumptions about carbohydrates, whether it be they're bad, they make you fat, you don't need carbs in your lives, so on and so forth. And I'm here to tell you that's not true at all. Having a great source of carbohydrates in your daily balanced diet is extremely essential for healthy living, especially if you know what to look for. And of course, with all my videos, these are just general recommendations for healthy individuals. Please always consult a licensed medical professional when it comes to anything with your health, just so that you're making sure that you're getting the right help that you need. Alright, now going back to the main train of thought, there are a ton of benefits that you get from carbohydrates. The first and primary function of carbohydrates is that it's the chief source of energy alongside fat. The key difference is that carbohydrates in the form of glucose is more readily available in the body, in which the body cells are in constant need of a steady supply of fuel, versus fat that's usually in storage form and is not as immediately available. Speaking of fuel sources, glucose is the only fuel source that your brain and your nerves use. Hence, when you eat less carbohydrates than you often need, usually leads your mind to being clouded, not being able to think straight, feeling sluggish, or the inability to focus and function properly physically and mentally overall. Also, unlike fat storages, glycogen, which is the polysaccharide, or in simple terms, it's a multiple chain of glucose, provides an immediate source of energy that is stored in the liver and the muscles. Muscle glycogen is used as energy for exercise or whenever the muscle needs it, without changing to blood sugar, hence your blood sugar levels aren't affected. This is especially important for the heart, where it uses glycogen as an immediate source for its energy to contract. The flip side of this is that glycogen is very limited, which is all the more reason why carbohydrates are essential in your daily diet. The next benefit of carbohydrates is fiber. So first off, a lot of carbohydrates, especially fruits and vegetables, are rich in fiber. Dietary fiber provides bulk, cleans out the digestive system, which prevents constipation, and regulates the proper function of your digestive system. It has also been shown to prevent and reduce chances of disease, such as diverticular and cardiovascular disease, colon cancer, as well as the management of diabetes and high cholesterol. The National Cancer Institute recommends a daily dose of 20 to 30 grams of fiber, and it's also good to note that people who aren't used to having high fiber in their diet may or may not experience some stomach discomfort, so it's recommended to increase your water consumption just to combat that. The next benefit of carbohydrates is something that I only learned when I was studying to be a nutritionist dietitian, is that the fact that carbohydrates and fats are also known as protein sparers. We know that the primary function of protein is to rebuild and grow, and the energy we get to do that is from carbohydrates and fats. Now, the thing about the body is that it prioritizes the use of energy action over the bodybuilding and repair action, because again, to build and repair, you do need energy. Hence, if your body has a low source of energy, in this case carbohydrates, it looks for a replacement in the form of your protein that you eat from your diet, or whatever's readily available, such as your muscles, to make fuel by breaking down those proteins and converting it to usable fuel that the body can use. With that in mind, you could eat all the protein you want, you could lift all the weights you want, but if you're not eating enough carbohydrates and fat to spare the protein to do its building and repair function, you might just be wasting all that protein and effort because your body is just converting it for fuel to survive. If you have enough fuel in your carbohydrates to give you energy for your workouts, you'll be able to do said workout with better quality, make better muscle gains because of that, along with the fact that you're helping protein do its job of trying to build and repair your body to be better because you're eating an adequate amount of carbohydrates. Instead of a vicious cycle that we always hear, it's a beautiful one. Not only does carbohydrates help protein, but but it also helps with healthy fat metabolism. When carbohydrates aren't enough to supply energy, fat is catabolized at an excessive rate that the body can't keep up with it, and it becomes acidic because of what we call the ketone bodies that are formed in the process. This process has been over-glorified by the certain fat-based fad diet. I'm not denying the fact that you will lose weight in a rapid manner, but is it healthy? Probably not, but maybe I'll get to that in another video. Lastly, the benefits of carbohydrates that have nothing to do with nutrition, not the most natural sources of carbohydrates, are actually very cheap. They're easily accessible, widely distributed in the markets, have a ton of variety and variation, and most of them can be easily stored without refrigeration. So of course, on the flip side, I have to mention an excess or overconsumption of carbohydrates, especially simple carbohydrates and processed food that are not only high in carbohydrates but also in fat, have been linked to increased cases of obesity, poor metabolic health, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. The World Health Organization recommends our daily diet to be a range of 55% to 75% carbohydrates, with less than 10% being from sugar or processed foods. If you want to know how to translate that to your own calories and into your servings per day, I have a semi-easy video on how to compute your macronutrients and calories as part of this health series. Alright, now that you know why you need carbohydrates in your life, let's move on to the recommended sources of carbohydrates that you could add to your daily diet. So to simplify things, we could divide carbohydrates into two categories: the complex or starchy carbohydrates and the simple carbohydrates. Again, another oversimplification, but a good way to remember complex or starchy carbohydrates are the foods that are less processed and more natural, while of course the simple carbohydrates are the opposite. You generally want to have more complex carbs over your simple carbs in your diet. Having more complex carbohydrates is generally recommended because it supplies you with a steady amount of energy, helps regulate your blood sugar because it doesn't raise it too fast or it doesn't let it spike, and it helps you stay fuller for longer as well because it does take longer to digest and you have a slower release of energy. So for example, brown rice is less processed, so it has more fiber and nutrients intact, versus white rice, which is more refined. Although technically white rice is still considered a starchy carbohydrate, it kind of acts the same as a simple carbohydrate because it is more processed. Because of that, it's easier to digest and to convert to glucose at a faster rate, making us hungry faster and less satisfied because it's simpler now. Again, an oversimplification, but that's pretty much the gist of it. The best sources of carbohydrates, of course, include your fruits and vegetables, your tubers such as your sweet potatoes and yams, whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, wheats, oats, beans, and lentils. Again, just keep in mind, the more natural, the less processed, the better. These should be your go-to for your main source of carbohydrates every day. Simple carbohydrates such as juices high in sugar, pastries, cakes, candy bars, chocolates, chips, sports drinks. I'm sure you get the picture now. It's the good stuff. And of course, I'm saying that ironically. Should be eating less than complex carbohydrates, but still have a place in your diet. As a Filipino, of course, rice is a staple in all of our dishes. So personally, I alternate between brown rice and quinoa to help me utilize the benefits of both and also have variety in my diet, alongside, of course, my as much as I can eat serving of vegetables. But on other days, I love chocolate chip cookies and ice cream, sometimes separately, sometimes at the same time. So even though I'm in a weight loss cutting phase, I'm still able to allot one of my 4 carbohydrate servings a day for that said dessert. There's a ton of carbohydrate sources and not all of them are created equal. And again, I don't believe that there are any bad carbohydrates as long as you eat them in the right amount. So still have a donut once in a while. Drink your favorite milk tea. But at the same time, maybe try switching out your white rice with some red rice or wild rice. Have a sandwich with some wheat bread. Eat some oatmeal with some berries for breakfast. Stop framing carbohydrates as some sort of shameful or villainous thing. There is nothing wrong with it. In fact, I'm 100% sure that hopefully with what you learned today, you'll welcome carbohydrates with open arms to help you become a better you. And that is it for this video. What do you think? So leave a comment down below on what you think I should cover next. I love conversing with you guys there in the comments. Follow me on Instagram at Albie Peralta. I'm a bit more personal there. I post stories almost every day, and I post in my stories when I have a new YouTube video out here on my channel, so that's one way to get notified, other than of course subscribing. Guys, it really does help a lot. And check out my other videos on this channel. Again, I have more episodes of this Better You Health series. I have my sneaker reviews, travel vlogs, Pokemon card videos, personal videos, anything and everything in between will be on this channel. And that is it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys when I see ya. Bye, guys.